welcome to another sustainable travel vlog. Today I'm in Zurich in Switzerland and it's a very special day because I'm traveling to Milan on one of the most beautiful rail journeys in the world. I'm about to get a train from Zurich to Chur, and then in Chur I'll change trains and get the Bernina Express to Tirano, and then I'll get my third and final train all the way to Milan. The first train leaves just after 7 a.m. in Zurich and I'll arrive in Milan about 20 to 4. The Bernina Express is really the star of the journey today, and that's because it crosses the Alps across the Rhaetian Railway, which is actually a UNESCO World Heritage Site and is famous for the incredible views it offers. So it's definitely an understatement to say that I'm excited. This is part of the scenic route that you can get from London to Milan, where you basically travel from London to Paris and then Paris to Zurich all in one day, and then you stay the night in Zurich, and then the next morning you could do this journey, or you could get a faster, more direct train to Milan from Zurich, which is about 3 hours and 20 minutes and is also a lot cheaper. But the route that I took to Zurich on this trip was a little different. I went from London to Amsterdam and then Amsterdam to Zurich, so I will link to a couple of videos which show that journey. But for now I'm going to go find my train because my arm is hurting and it's also very cold. So I bought my tickets on Trainline and Reichsbahn the day before and it cost me around £100, but there is a clever, cheap way that you can book your tickets in advance, which the man in seat 61 figured out, so I'll leave a link below which explains how to do that for people who are more organised than me. Trying to get away from today. Now I've just boarded the Bernina Express, and I just wanted to say a little bit about Swiss trains, so if you're not interested in that sort of stuff you can skip ahead. So Switzerland has one of the most extensive rail networks in Europe, and because it's 60% alpine terrain, the Swiss had to become pretty good at building railways through and around mountains, and the Bernina Express route is a masterpiece of engineering. It passes through 55 tunnels and goes over 196 bridges, and is the highest trans-alpine railway in Europe and one of the steepest railways in the world without cogwheels. And all this was completed before 1910, so it's really been one of the main drivers for the area's social, economic and cultural development. So it takes about 4 hours and 20 minutes to get to Tirano on the Bernina Express. It's so cool to have the windows so high because you can see everything. It's basically panoramic. Also, you get this leaflet and it will help you connect on your phone to a website which tells you how high you are and gives you notifications for different landmarks, which I think is really useful. And I think there's also an audio guide, but I haven't looked at that yet. Also, Reichsbahn trains are powered by 100% renewable hydropower. A distant train crawling away, and I lay on my back trying to get away from today. So I've just started listening to the audio guide, which is so cool. They basically explain the history and geography of the local areas and the different landmarks that you pass through. And it actually has so much information, so I'm learning even more than I did when I did the research for this trip. But they also have announcements just in the carriage about where you are and stuff. So the audio guide is basically just kind of a more in-depth version of that. On my back, trying to get away. This is the famous Landwasser Viaduct. It only took 13 months to build and was finished in 1902. It has 6 arches, each 65 meters high, and apart from being exceptionally beautiful, part of the reason for its fame is because engineers couldn't rely on traditional building techniques and had to develop new ones because of how high it is. So So we're just passing Bergen station now, and this is where the Albula Railway Museum is, and it takes visitors through the history of the local railway, sharing the stories of the Albula region, how the line was built, and the people who shaped it. There's old railway equipment, models, and even a simulator which lets you drive a famous locomotive along the Albula line yourself. Okay, so we've just stopped at the station Alp Grum, where people can get out of the train and go to the viewing point and take pictures and stuff. It's only for a few minutes, so just enough time to take a little video or some photos. Rocking us to sleep. Okay, that was amazing. We're back on the train now. Just a word of warning, if you're in second class or the Allegri unit, which is basically the one where you don't have to make a seat reservation, but it doesn't have like the panoramic windows, you should probably bring some snacks because the water and the snacks on here are really expensive, and there's also like very limited choices. So I just got basically some biscuits and some water. I think in first class you get more options of food, but I'm not sure. But yeah, basically, if you're gonna get this train, bring your own food. Rocking us to sleep. Rocking us to sleep. The staff are so friendly, like they go above and beyond to make your experience enjoyable. I also met a couple of guys from Lithuania who are really into trains as well, and they were really lovely. They were like offering to take my picture and stuff because I'm traveling alone. So yeah, it's been a really, really special journey. Probably the best train I've ever been on. I mean, I don't know how many times I'm gonna say that, but yeah, this one is definitely the most amazing train journey I've ever been on. I also think this train is the perfect example to show how the journey can become part of the holiday. If you're looking to just get from London to Milan as fast as possible, you can just get the Eurostar from London to Paris and then the fast train from Paris to Milan all in one day. And I did do that route when I went to Lecce, so I will link that video below. But if you're looking to maximize the benefits of train travel on your way to Milan, then I would highly recommend this route. There's a few different ways, I've kind of spoken about that before, that you could get from London to Zurich, but this route from Zurich to Milan is incredible. Also, I've got the whole thing to myself now, look. In 1908, when building this stretch of the railway, engineers faced another challenge. Just past the village of Brusio, they needed to reduce the altitude of the railway in a very short amount of time. Their solution was the Brusio Spiral Viaduct, a 9-arched stone spiral railway bridge which takes passengers across a bridge which minutes later they circle all the way around to before passing under it. So I've seen other YouTube videos where people have actually taken the Bernina Express and then gotten off at different stops to like do some hikes or stay overnight and then continue later that day or the next day. I think you can get to one where you can see the train from afar. Oh my God, we're literally going through the town. So yeah, so you can ride the train and then also like look at it from a distance, which is pretty impressive. I've arrived at Tirano now. I honestly feel like high from that journey. It was so incredible. But now I need to figure out where my train to Milan is leaving from. I don't know if there's any more platforms than this actually. Maybe I just wait here. My train's in like 15 minutes, so. Okay, so I forgot I actually have to change stations, but it's all in like the same little square, so I'm literally walking right next door. So, is that the one to Milan? God, I need to figure this out. Found it. It's literally the train that was waiting there. So, I'm gonna hop on board. Okay, so I've arrived in Milan. It is 20 to 4 and I'm pretty tired. I got up at 6 a.m. to get that first train, so totally worth it. That whole journey was insane. That last train we went next to Lake Como, which was beautiful, but the windows were quite dirty, which was a little annoying. But anyway, thanks so much for watching if you made it this far, and as always I'll put more details about the route, where I bought my tickets, all of that stuff in the description below. See you in the next one. And you're sweating.